Camera rolling and action. What is happening, beautiful people? Igama lami ngu-Usiphile, and welcome to the 6th episode of Usiphile on the platform. So for the first time ever, I think it's worth mentioning that for the first time ever, we are on a 3-week streak of back-to-back episodes. And it's all thanks to consistency, and thank you to you guys for the continued support, for the beautiful conversations that we have been having. And so last week, I remember, was it last week or the previous week? I can't remember. I did promise to respond to the comments on the YouTube channel, and I did just that. So in the last week, that's what I was doing. I took a day, and I was just literally going through all the comments, and I found some very interesting points that I wanted to speak on. And so I thought to myself, okay, how do I do it? Do I extract something and I come here and I present it to you guys? But I thought, no, actually, in the first or the second episode, I did ask you guys or urge you guys to comment in these videos, not because I want to boost the numbers up of the channel, even though that's important as far as the algorithm is concerned, but more so to engage with you guys, because like I said, this is not a live platform or like a conversation that we are having. So the only time I'll get to engage with you guys is through the comment section, is through social media or in-person conversations that I'll be having with you. So like I said, don't hold back, share those comments with me. And so as I was going through them, I decided, you know what, I don't just wanna comment on the YouTube channel and leave it there. I wanna allow those conversations to live beyond just the comment section, and so I want to bring them to you guys. And today, what I'm going to do is just as a way to reflect on the progress that the channel has made over the last few weeks, or last few months rather. So the first episode was actually uploaded 2 months ago. So as a way just to reflect, I want to go through the comments that you guys have left and to touch on what you have spoken about, and to like respond to some questions that you might have. And I think it's for the people that will be tuning in. Let's say someone is tuning in now on the 6th episode. It's just a nice way for them to get an idea of what has been transpiring for the last few weeks. And if they are interested, or if you are interested, then you can come tune in. So first episode was actually released on the 1st of February 2023. And it's currently sitting on 115 views, which is great, and 17 comments. I think it's including my comments as well. And there's quite a few comments. I think it's the video with the most comments, naturally, because it's the first one. And then the comments kind of go down after that. But there's quite a few comments here, because I think at this point, I didn't really know what the name of the platform was going to be. So I asked people to give me insight, or sorry, to suggest some names for me to go with. And there's quite a few comments there on that, and just like basically like congratulations, well done on starting, and some like big shout outs. And there was a comment, just a part of the comment that was left by Miles. I think I might, like post-production, I might actually just attach those comments here, where he was speaking about like the relatability of this episode. And he said, hearing you speak about the importance of starting felt like you were speaking directly to me. And then he spoke about like the storytelling abilities were amazing, because he felt like he was watching my thoughts play out as they happened. And for the people that tuned into the first episode, you'll remember that there was a point in the episode where I stopped midway and I was like, I don't know if I should actually continue with this episode, because I wasn't really sure what I was talking about, and obviously the nerves were coming in, and I was wondering whether or not I was making sense. And so this was actually such a nice comment just to go through, and to people like, someone picked up on the fact that they were literally watching my thoughts play out as they happen on camera. And for me, it's always been my aim and objective. I think now, over the last few weeks, I've realized like my aim and objective is to bring you in the journey that I'm going through, or that I'm partaking in. And I want you guys to draw some inspiration from them if you can, or draw some lessons that I'll be sharing with you from my experience. Because sometimes you don't have to go through something for you to know. So you don't have to experience something firsthand for you to learn from it, And so that has been the whole thing about like this platform, where you watched me get started, get excited. And the second episode was I had a bit of doubts, where I was reflecting. And the third episode, literally all the ups and downs that do happen in any typical journey, are transpiring in this platform. So it was actually nice just to hear that someone was able to pick that up, that I had those thoughts, and I kind of in a way spoke to them as far as getting started, because they saw me doing it, and they were like, okay, maybe I should also do it. So big shout out for that. And then there was another comment from Silas Beats. He's like, hey man, good start, raw but good, crazy unconfirmed stats. If you get past episode 5, you are already in the top 10% of podcasts globally. Globally, whether or not this is true, it goes to show that a lot of people may start, but they stop just as fast. Having said that, this has given me a bit of motivation to start as well. Keep it up. And this is also like a really great, like a dope comment. Because like I said, when you said top 10%, I was like, okay, that's a bit wild. And I said to him, I think later on the comments you'll see where I said to him, initially when I was in episode 1, I'm like, 5 episodes, what is 5 episodes actually anyway? But having read that comment post the struggle that I've gone through, I was like, I can see why a lot of people do drop along the way. And I think it applies in any journey that people do partake in, on like anything that they want to get started in. Where you get started, you do something that you've been passionate about, you've been thinking of doing, and then the first challenge you come across, you're like, nah, actually, I don't want to do this anymore. And to be quite honest, it's very easy. I think we all know that it's very easy to stop, which is a bit unfair, because if it's so difficult or so tricky to start, why is it so easy to stop and to drop? And I was there was a point where I was like, I'm actually stopping here. But luckily we have made it to 6 episodes. So as far as this stat is concerned, me and yourself are now officially in the top 10% of episodes globally. And yeah. Okay, so those are the 2 comments that I'll just touch on. So there's other ones as well. Great episode, man. Opening up about the challenges of getting started and being Miles, taking the leap of faith. Oh, and for people, when I read this, I was like, it's actually funny because there is a Miles who commented on this video. Also a brother of mine. So when he spoke about being Miles, there's the movie Spider-Man. There's a scene where Miles is like, what does it say? That's all it is, man. A leap of faith, and then he has to jump. So Miles jumps off the building to test his web shooters and to check if he actually is Spider-Man. So yeah, that was the first episode, right? The comments under there, and then there's also quite a few, I think 2 comments under the second episode. Oh yeah, so again, Silas Beach is talking about he's like, you own your solo. So in this episode, I was very, if you go watch that episode, my energy was so low, and I think I was very much in my head as I was talking to the camera, and I was speaking about the challenges obviously and stuff. And so he and the fears that I have, where I was like, do I actually know what I'm doing? Do I actually know what I'm doing, and am I ready to have this conversation to the people that I'm hoping will come and join me on the platform, etc., etc. So then he spoke about it, thanks for the insight. A couple of things make sense now. You own your solo, so there's going to be a lot of introspection and self-reflection. I appreciate that you take us through these thoughts, or those thoughts. I know people feel like it's long and fluffy, but some of us gain more context from longer explanations. And then then he also provides a bit of advice where he says, having said that, you can then condense those thoughts as you get used to the platform to where you can articulate a thought within a slightly shorter period of time. So this comment is it says, okay, because I was talking about hey, this is long, because it was a 30-minute episode, and I was worried that people are they want to have a short episode in order for them to consume the whole content. And then he was basically saying he gets that aspect of it where you can actually articulate something in a quicker period of time, but at the same time you don't want to tell a story and shorten it so much that you take the context out of it, because then the story might not even make sense. So I think that's what I got from the comment, and it was very important for me just to read it and go through and be like, oh, actually this is true, because now I don't want to have to condense myself in order for me, in order to deliver a certain point, but like remove the context out of it, because then I might know what the context is behind that point, but if people don't really understand it, then it's pointless. So I think from that point I was just like, hey man, I'd rather have a long episode that has more context and a better understanding of what I'm trying to talk about, as opposed to having a short episode where we have all these different points but people are missing because the context is so far removed, you know. So it was also a nice way to be like, oh, okay, you know, a young pick me up there. And then I'll just attach the whole comment here. And then there was a second one under the same video, also from a brother of mine. I mean, and this is someone that I speak about, wise man, who I speak about like is my brother. So then we have actual conversations, like he knows me on a personal level. And so he was saying, "Saza sasaba ukomenda ke manje." And the context behind that is because in the episode I said, like, I don't want people to share or to comment or to like the video for the sake of liking or for the sake of sharing. Like, you think, oh my gosh, I know Usipile has a platform, so let me share it, but you don't consume the content. So for me, I would rather you share the video or the podcast or the things that I speak about because you got something from it. Because if you share, here's my thing, and here's my thinking behind it. If I put something up, if I share your video on my story, you know, the same way that people do on WhatsApp, Instagram, wherever, and someone comments, hey man, what is this podcast actually about? And you comment, hey bro, I don't know, this is just my boy, he has a platform. It kind of affects how someone engages with that content, because they're like, what's the point? Which then actually defeats the purpose of you sharing anyway. Because if you haven't watched it, why should I watch it? Then nobody's actually going to watch it. So I was just like, I want people to actively engage with the content because they're so drawn to it. And if you share it passionately, saying, hey, I want you guys to actually hear this, and not, it's my boy that has a podcast, so I want you to go support him or whatever. So that's why he says as a sub comment. And then he said, one thing I can say, bro, is nothing new. You already know this. Podcasting can be great where there's an additional person you're interacting with. It is nice to follow a dialogue and different perspectives, humor and jokes, pa. Busy vibes and just so podcasting is enjoyable when there's a dialogue, more than storytelling or more of a reflection. And with storytelling, it can be lengthy as well. And then it goes on, it breaks it down. I've gone through the comment, it breaks it down. But essentially, the whole idea was, because we had a podcast, myself, him, and Simpi, we had a podcast called The Alpha Show, and it was nicer there because it was 3 people with, you know, similar perspectives, but also differences sometimes, and we could ask each other questions, we could throw jokes, you know, here and there. But when you are alone and you're looking at the camera, it's a bit tricky because no one is really, you're not feeding off of anyone's energy except for your own. So that, I think that's where he was coming from, where he said, if you have a 30-minute episode with 3 people, it doesn't feel as lengthy as if it's one person with a 30-minute episode, depending obviously how you structure it and how you break it down and what kind of content you are delivering to the people. So that's what he was speaking about. And then he because after this comment, we had a video call where he had told me like, hey bro, to be honest, I didn't even feel like it was 30 minutes because I just enjoyed listening to you, because when I was listening to you, it felt like I was talking to you, you know, like it's what usually happens when we're having a conversations, and we can go on for hours just having those conversations. So for him, it wasn't anything unusual, and that's why he was like, for me, I don't mind, but I think for other people they might mind. So kind of introduce this aspect to you having this podcast as one person. So he says, all in all, as you said, you ain't doing it for the numbers, you are doing it for the impact, creating a platform where people can come and share their journeys, have conversations. So keep it going and keep it flowing a day like it. And that's what it's about, bro. Like, it's literally about creating a platform that people can step onto and share their journeys and share their stories. And even me sharing my story, they can also draw some inspiration or some lessons from. And yeah, so those are the first 2 episodes. And so here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna pause here for now. I just want to check, because my phone, when I was recording, my phone was actually, like, the battery was draining quite quickly. I think it's because of these mics. So I want to check now how it's going, and then I'm gonna continue after this. Yeah. Okay. Hey, what's up? So I did not leave you hanging. I know I went to check my phone because I wanted to see how quickly the battery was depleting, But while I was checking the battery, I realized that I was sitting, I think it was 16 minutes. And so I decided instead of having the lengthy episode of like 30 minutes, I'll break down I'll break down the episode into two. So this will officially be part one, and next week I'm gonna release part two of this episode, because it's a reflective episode, and I figured as I was going through the comments, there's actually quite a few things that I wanted to talk about. And I don't want to like cut it short. Like I said, I don't want to condense the content in order for people to consume it easier. Instead, I actually want to have an episode that is bearable, but also provide enough context for someone to understand what is being spoken about. So I do apologize if you still wanted a bit more. I will drop the part two next week. I do promise. I will record it immediately after I recorded this short clip. I just wanted for you to be in the light. Thank you for tuning in. Please do subscribe, comment, and hit the notification button, bell, and yeah, leave a comment, man, and let's have conversations. I'll see you next week.